Hey guys, my name is Scoby and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Cam Link 4K by Elgato. This is a new device I just picked up. It's a really nice device that takes any sort of input from a HDMI from a DSLR or different sort of video cameras that you can take directly into your PC and let it be recognized as a webcam. So this is nice because it gives you a lot more options over traditional webcams, including higher quality. And if you're using a DSLR, in my case, you have much more options for lenses, zooming points, blurry backgrounds like you see right here. So the Cam Link 4K is an upgrade of the original Cam Link, which was a non-4K version. And from what I can tell, the only difference between the two is the fact that this actually supports, well, of course, 4K footage. So there's a couple of resolutions this supports, including 1080p 30, 60, and then 4K 30. 4K 60 is not really possible yet, and I'm not sure if a lot of cameras can even output this. But currently I'm using a Nikon D3300. And the live output on this is 1080p 30 FPS. But honestly, with the quality upgrade that we get here, and once I have a light pointed at me, even though it's kind of blinding my eyes right now, it's a huge upgrade over any traditional webcam. And it's really nice to see it. So currently this device cost me around 130, 140 euros on Coolblue, but I'll be leaving links in the description to Amazon if you want to check those out. They are affiliate links on Amazon, so if you buy it, you will be able to support me on the channel a little bit, so I would appreciate it. But looking a little bit further inside the box, we actually have a pretty simple setup overall. It's got this nice extra clean Elgato box on the inside. Further inside this, you just get a USB expansion port and then the card itself. There's no CD, there's no need for anything like that. Plugging it directly into my PC had all the drivers installed correctly. There was no real problems with me in that regard. You can use the Elgato Capture software that you can download directly from the Elgato website. For me, it wasn't really needed. I just could import everything into OBS, and that's what I would recommend most people using. It gives you the most flexibility, especially if you want to create more advanced streams and do different things. And everything seems to work fine with the Elgato Cam Link, except for some issues that I will explain further in the video. But the device does only have a single HDMI input, so it's not really meant to be a capture card necessarily. Typically, capture cards will also have an output HDMI as well, so you can output to a TV and see it live on a television as well. Whereas the footage you get into your PC from a capture card typically has a couple of milliseconds delay. And that is also the case with this, even in my live preview of OBS. And I can see that me talking from my voice is a little bit behind. It's not too far behind, but thankfully in this case, it's a consistent pace behind. So it's always, let's say, 10 milliseconds behind where I am. So if I shift back the audio a little bit, everything is synced up. However, I've heard this is more of a problem if you have a higher FPS or a higher resolution. Since you're outputting a bigger bandwidth, there's more fluctuations in the distance between the actual video and the audio, so it can dip up and down. So syncing the audio in post can be a little bit tricky. So that's kind of a bad thing. In my case, it seems to work okay, so I can't complain too much, but it is something to keep in mind if you're thinking about getting something like this. Now, there is one thing where I've had some issues with this, and it's including the USB in the device. So like shown in the video, you can see that there's just a USB on the front and a HDMI in the back. So that means you can plug it anywhere into your PC and hopefully you should have no problems. So after plugging it into the back of my PC, it seems like it just gave me trouble after a couple seconds or a couple minutes where the footage would just randomly stop. And I would have to literally plug the device in and out again to be able to pick it up again. This is a little bit frustrating and I couldn't figure out what the issue was. I tried playing with drivers, different updates, plugging it into different USB slots, but nothing I could do seemed to fix it until I plugged it into one of the USB headers in the front of my PC, which is a USB 3.0. This seemed to take care of the problem. From reading online, it seems that the bandwidth it needs for this actual capture card is a lot. And if you have a USB hub, or in this case, the USB is on the back of my motherboard since it's connected to one device, seems to be too much, and this seems to give problems. Even though normal capture cards I don't have the same issue with, so it's a little bit weird, but plugging it into the front of my USB seemed to fix this. I've also read other users fix this by plugging it into a PCIe USB expansion hub, so since it acts as a new device, it seems to take care of the problems. So maybe if you don't have USB 3 headers in the front of your PC, or if you're using a lot of devices on the back of your computer, maybe it's best to try test this if you can, just to make sure it fully works. I've tested it on my girlfriend's computer and it didn't seem to give any problems, but I have a lot of devices plugged into the back of my PC, including my XLR adapter. I have my FIO Q3 over here for my audio, so maybe those things are causing problems and giving some incompatibility issues, but even still, for the price I'm paying, I expect this to work. So this is something to keep in mind. My little workaround seems to work fine and the audio and video seem to be okay from it now. However, it is a feature I would recommend, and just keep this with a grain of salt, that it might cause some problems with you. And if it is, I would recommend going another route. I think Razer also have a good alternative to this, but I'm not sure if that's also a 4K version, so I can't speak too much for that. Since this capture card does actually work as a webcam, it seems to work even better than other things because you can use it in, say, applications like Skype, inside the camera app in Windows, or even different other web applications like Omegle or Chat Roulette, whatever you want to use. You can use all this with this webcam, whereas other input capture devices, say a normal capture card, can't actually be used like this because it's picked up as a video device and it's not actually recognized in Windows as a webcam. So this is one really nice feature of this that I don't think a lot of the other competitors have. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I would recommend it to users that like to experiment, that really want to be at the top peak of what they can do with a webcam or DSLR. Or if you already have a nice webcam, I'm not sure if I'd recommend upgrading to this and a DSLR unless you really have the budget for it. But if you already have a DSLR or a nice video camera laying around, this might be a good option for you. I think it has enough features that it's quite nice to recommend. Overall, the build quality of the product is pretty nice. The packaging is simple and the price is not so crazy compared to a normal capture card, which is like €200 for a decent HDMI capture card. This is coming in at 140, so it's not crazy outside the bank. If you don't actually have a nice webcam, the best webcam you can kind of get is the C920 by Logitech, which is going to cost you around 70 to €100. So for a little bit more, you can get this. And if you already have a video camera or something like this at home, you're getting much better quality, much more flexibility. I'd recommend it if you have the budget. If you don't have the budget and you're looking for something just simple, pick up a C920 or a C922, whichever is cheaper in your area, and go for something like this. However, if you're looking at something like a Logitech Brio, the 4K version, I think I still wouldn't recommend it over something like this because most of your streams or anything that you're going to be recording, you're not going to be importing footage higher than 1080p because it's too much of a CPU strain for what you're actually going to be streaming regardless. Plus, I find the video quality on any kind of DSLR or decent video camera to be so much better than a Logitech Brio. And a Brio can still cost 180, 200, 250 euro, depending on where you are, where you're buying it, and if it's on sale or not. So picking up an older DSLR or a video camera can be a really big upgrade and can give you a lot of flexibility. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I would say yes, but there's potential issues. So make sure you have a good option to return if you have any issues with your PC and you don't want to upgrade to a PCIe expansion slot, which I would totally understand. So wherever you order from, make sure you have a good return policy that if you need to return it, you can, so you're not stuck with a dud and you can actually use your device. Anyway guys, that's been our first look at the Elgato Cam Link 4K. I might do an updated video on this a little bit later, but I feel like I rounded up everything I need to in today's video. I think it does what it needs to do, and I think it does it well enough for the price. So there it is. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to drop a like. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the other videos on the channel. I'm going to be leaving a link down below to my PayPal if you found these videos helpful and you want to support me. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, as always, keep it saucy. Peace.